Welcome to SlowTalk English, the podcast that helps you learn English through calm, clear, and meaningful listening. Today, we're exploring a fascinating question. How can you get addicted to learning English in a good way? What does neuroscience say about turning language learning from a chore into something your brain craves? To start, let's look at what addiction really means in the brain. In neuroscience, addiction is linked to the brain's reward system, a network of regions that release dopamine when we do something that feels rewarding. Dopamine is often called the feel-good chemical, but more accurately, it's the motivation chemical. It doesn't just make you happy. It drives you to repeat behaviors that your brain tags as valuable. This is why we check our phones, crave sweets, or play games for hours. The dopamine loop keeps us coming back. Now, what if we could harness that same mechanism for learning English? Research shows that when you experience small, frequent successes, your brain releases dopamine. Each time you understand a new phrase, recall a word correctly, or finish a short lesson, your reward system lights up. Over time, your brain starts to associate English learning with positive feelings, making you want to return to it again and again. One powerful strategy is to break your learning into micro goals. Instead of vague plans like study English for 2 hours, aim for specific, bite-sized wins. Learn 3 new phrases today, or listen to 5 minutes of a podcast. Neuroscience tells us that each completed goal gives your brain a mini dopamine hit. The sense of achievement, no matter how small, strengthens your motivation to keep going. Another key factor is novelty. Our brains are wired to pay attention to new and surprising things. That's why starting a new show or reading an article about an exciting topic can make learning feel effortless. To trigger your brain's natural curiosity, vary your activities, mix podcasts, YouTube videos, books, and conversations. When English feels fresh and exciting, your brain rewards you for engaging with it. Emotions also play a huge role. Studies on neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change and grow, show that we remember information better when it's tied to strong emotions. If you connect English to things you care about, your hobbies, dreams, or relationships, the emotional charge boosts dopamine and memory formation. For example, reading about a topic you're passionate about or practicing conversations that matter to you creates stronger, longer-lasting neural connections. Gamification is another neuroscience-backed approach. Games keep us hooked because they combine challenge, progress tracking, and rewards. You can bring these elements into your English practice, set up streaks, reward yourself for milestones, and track your improvement. Many language apps do this automatically, but you can also create your own system, like marking off days on a calendar or celebrating when you complete a set number of listening hours. Crucially, avoid overloading yourself. Frustration and boredom are motivation killers. If you push too hard, your brain begins to associate English with stress rather than reward. The trick is to find your sweet spot, tasks that are challenging enough to engage you, but not so hard that they feel impossible. Neuroscientists call this the flow state, where you're fully absorbed in what you're doing and time seems to fly. Another often overlooked factor is social reinforcement. The brain's reward system is highly sensitive to social feedback. Sharing your progress with friends, joining language exchange groups, or even posting small wins online can amplify your motivation. Each positive interaction provides another dopamine boost, reinforcing the habit. Consistency is what ultimately rewires your brain. Neuroscience shows that repeated, rewarding behaviors strengthen neural pathways, making them easier and more automatic over time. The more often you experience these dopamine hits from English learning, the more your brain begins to crave them. Eventually, studying doesn't feel like a task. It becomes something you naturally want to do. So, if you want to get addicted to learning English, focus on creating positive feedback loops. Set small, achievable goals, keep your learning varied and emotionally engaging, and celebrate your progress. Make it rewarding, make it social, and most importantly, make it consistent. Over time, your brain will start to see English not as a burden, but as a source of satisfaction and growth. Thanks for listening. That was today's episode of SlowTalk English. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And remember, keep listening, keep growing,